Happy Monday, June 8th, and we're grateful to be back on the wall as watchmen and with Iran on for Monday. That's fantastic. And so there was just some good news and some bad news from Canada. I'm not sure which one you want to start with, but maybe we'll start with the bad news. The bad news is that the Bill C-9 that we were all praying would not get passed did get passed, which is concerning in terms of hate speech, even taking portions of the Bible and twisting it into hate speech. So that still needs to, pray. Let's all pray, though, that it doesn't get legislated or, acted upon and gets changed someday. How about that? So that was the bad news. But the good news from Canada, which is really amazing, and even for myself, I'm like, wow, wow, wow. And I'm happy for Iran, even to see these images of Toronto yesterday, which is a march for Israel down the streets of Toronto. And the number one city, by the way, in the world per capita for anti-Semitism. But 60,000 people showed up for this march for Israel. And just the sheer size of this is very encouraging, of ordinary Canadians that showed up to say, we stand with Israel, we stand against anti-Semitism. And they came from all over the nation. And I also got a text about this. Yes, the police did do some arresting, but it sounds to me like the police did a very good job of protecting the march people. And they arrested those that were like some disruptors. They did arrest. Let me see. Somebody needs to be muted. There we go. Yeah, they did some arrests, but I'll say this. There was a poster upon there. There was a clip to every Canadian who marched. Every single one of you who stand with us, the Jewish people, at times when it mattered most, know this: we love you and we are eternally grateful. So good to hear good news from Canada. Praise the Lord. All right, Iran, there
Yeah,
is interesting news
sorry.
coming from Israel. So if you could share with us, Iran, all that's transpired in this last day and your thoughts on all of it and how we can continue to pray, of course. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Great to see you. I was following you on Facebook, and it seems a very good time with your family. So thank you for
Thank,
sharing that. Such a
thank you.
blessing. I can tell you a report, give you a report that Sharon did a good job while you was not
All
there.
right, Sharon. Thanks, Sharon.
So it was such a blessing. So thank you very much. Um, to be here. Yes, again, we are in war. Can you imagine? What a surprise. It started yesterday. It was very hard day in Israel. It started with a terror attack. It was a Arab, Israeli Arab that came inside Israel, and he was shooting. Four people was injured, and one of them was murdered, and this is inside Israel. It's not outside. It's not the border. It's not Lebanon. It's not Gaza. It's inside Israel. If you are driving without traffic, it's 25 minutes from Tel Aviv. So can you imagine about that? And it was very hard. And this is part of the quiet arena that is inside Israel and Judea and Samaria also, that you can see the terror growing there, and you see that it's not quiet. And to defend the border, it's one thing, because everybody that is not it's outside the fence, it's not a friend of you. And but inside Israel, an Arab Israeli with the same identity card like me, and the car like me, and everything like us in Israel, this is an enemy that it's hard to know, because you can travel in Jaffa and see a lot of them there that living in a coexistence inside Israel. But the terrorist without a criminal or past, whatever, that came and decide, wake up in the morning and something in the news he don't like, and take his gun and go and shooting Jewish people in the street, is something that is can be hard. We have season like that. We took care of that. but now it's becoming very hard. In the north, the war continue, and we spoke about it last time. They shoot missiles on our soldiers, but they're shooting also on our villages and kibbutzim and cities. And we find the right reaction is to shoot on them in Beirut. It's always make me wondering, they are shooting from Lebanon, but the government of Lebanon is like acting to Hezbollah like a separate entity, which is a little bit, I don't understand that. But and then from then the Iran's threat us that they're going to shoot, and they didn't threat, they shoot. We start in the last night with the missiles on the north, and today morning, in the morning, we woke up in 6 o'clock for a missile attack on Tel Aviv and south north, and everybody was again in the bomb shelters. Around 10, it was a missile attack on Judea and Samaria. In Ariel, we have been in the bomb shelter of the NLC. Of course, everybody was canceling everything. The educational system didn't work. Nobody worked. Today, the streets and the roads was empty from people. All the students be home. So we have been in the NLC with the staff, but it was a very, very hard day for us yesterday and today. And today it started, in a way, declaration of the Iran that they're going to stop shooting on us. Benjamin Netanyahu in 10 minutes is going to do a press conference, but I'm not sure. Maybe Racheli that will be here can give us headlines, but I don't know what he said. But in all the medias and the website, it said that President Trump forced him not to react again. Last night, we have been shooting in Iran, where our airplanes was today morning very early, but President Trump stopped again Prime Minister Netanyahu to respond. And this is something that a lot of people in Israel feeling not good about it, because you're feeling that the Irans, after 2 wars, they are continue to control the rhythm of the fire. And let's not forget who is the Irans. The Irans, they are terrorists. It's not people that they're terrorists, and they're funding terror, and they're killing their, murdering their people, and they're shooting drones and missiles on the Emirates. And this is something that we don't forget. It's not a nice people there. But this regime that was replaced, the son replaces the father, and now is controlling, and he is controlling in the rhythm in the Middle East, which is it's to give a price to the terror. And you see that Hezbollah continue to shoot in this moment. They shoot again on the north, and the idea is that they are going to shoot in the north, and they want us to respond, and then the Iran respond to us, and Ben Gurion Airport is shut down. And this is something that this is a very bad equation for us, but I don't think just for us. If terror around the world, and this is how they are seeing that. They see strong Irans after 2 attacks, and they see President Trump that is not take decisions, and they see Prime Minister Netanyahu that is not responding because President Trump holding him, and you don't see any process of peace here. The Arabs understand that if they're going to continue to be like they're acting now, this is what is going to be the future, again and again and again. And this is something that is frustration, and it's feeling not good. And we are acting with us. And when we are going to read the portion of Shabbat, it's going to be portion that call send out, or lech, numbers 13 to 15. And we are reading then that Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son Josaphat said to the whole assembly of Israeli, the land through which we passed to explore is extendedly good land. And I think this is one of the important verses or chapters in the Bible. And when we was reading this portion, it's amazing to see Moses sent 12 people, 12 leaders to tour the promised land. Everybody saw the same land, everybody saw the same people, everybody saw the same challenges, but they didn't saw the same. 10 spies return with message of fear. The land is difficult, the enemy is strong, and it's mission impossible. And in contrast, Joshua and Caleb saw exactly the same fact, yet they see the opposite conclusion. And one of the amazing things that we are saying in the NLC a lot, and I will give you the connection in a minute, it said we should certainly go up and take position of it, for we can surely do it. It's from Numbers 13:30. They didn't deny the difficulty. They didn't. They simply refused to allow difficulty to define the future, to define themselves. And this is one of the biggest lessons in leadership. Not the reality, not just the reality alone determine our path, but our interpretation of the reality. This is what is important. And one of the beautiful things that I was reading in Shabbat, one of the articles that was published all over, is about a doctor. His name is Abram Peter. I don't know if you know the name. You should not suppose to know him, but he was passed away in Jerusalem last week. And he was a Holocaust survivor. He was a scientist. He was an engineer that contributed a lot to the scientific world. And one of the American connection among that he was part of the team that helped save the crew of Apollo 13 after a serious multifunction that nearly ended in disaster. And when they asked him after that about where he got his mental resilience to unable to function in this such an extreme moment of crisis, he didn't speak about education or professional achievement. He was speaking about an apple. And the story is that as a teenager in the ghetto of Lodz through the Holocaust time, while he was risking his life, he managed to obtain a single apple for his sick and starving father. And after he brought the apple to his father, he was expecting that the father will eat that because an apple in the ghetto was wow. And instead that his father was stopping, holding the apple, holding that to the sky, lift the apple, and he was blessing by thanking the Lord about this apple. And after he took a bite, he gave this to the family. And this is, and Dr. Peters was told in this article or that was published that this moment changed his life. He understood that the person is not just defining by the body, a person is a soul. And he understand that even in a situation of extreme depression, fear, stress, you can react how you are going to react. You are going to choose how you are going to react. And more than 80 years, he carried with him this memory, and this apple became his symbol of inner freedom, faith, and resilience. And if you're wondering what is the connection between the spies and these apples, you can see the miracle to understand how much these 10 people that saw the giants and how the two people that saw the giants and Abram father saw the hunger and the disease that happened in the ghetto, and yet he did not forget to stop and give thanks. And I think this is something that is the same like the choose of the Father. And these two events are teaching us that leadership began long before we lead others. It started with ourselves, how we are interpreting and how we choose to look about the future. And yesterday we saw a terror attack, and yesterday we saw an Israeli a man that was murdered and sirens. In the morning we woke up to threats and from Iran and reminding about the long time that we have been in these challenges that is escorted. By the way, I was hearing today that before the war there was 40,000 wounded soldiers that was taken care by the Ministry of Defense. Now there are 65,000 after the war, and until the end of the next year, it's going to be approximately 100,000 people because not all of them are show their pain, especially about I'm speaking about mental. And it's very easy in this time to hear the desperate, the despair or the desperate voices, and it's very easy to see the giant and to focusing on the giant. But these portions showed us again and again, and this is another reminding that we are reading in the Bible through all the time of the period, especially in the desert. It reminds us the leadership is not the ability to ignore difficulties, is the ability is to challenge that and to move forward through faith and believing in God and through responsibility and through the miracles that we are seeing day by day. And this for me is such a blessing. I choose to start to finish my talk with you with something that is in my heart every day. And this version is taking us every day. We should certainly go up, for we can surely do it. I choose to fight and I choose to believe. And Wednesday morning, I'm going to open the National Leadership Center. I don't know if it's going to be a ceasefire. I don't know if it's not going to be a ceasefire. But I have a group of 40 soldiers that today came and I said to them, guys, there are missiles. It's dangerous to come. He said to me, you have a bomb shelter? Yes, we have. You have faith? I said, tons. They said we're coming on Wednesday morning. And tomorrow morning, we are going to high school, which is going to open because just the high schools of youth in risk are open. So tomorrow, I'm not sure it's going to be ceasefire or not. I'm not sure if we can go or not, but we are going to open. And this is the answers because I refuse to see the bad land. I refuse to see the challenges. I refuse to say, okay, let's go to the bomb shelter and hide. No, my answer and our answer is to look in the reality and say, okay, we have the promised land. God promised us that, and we are going to continue. And we are going to show again and again and demonstrate it to young people and the next generations of leaders how you're supposed to act in times like that and not hide and not cry, which is okay. But tears are not solving anything. Actions are solving. And I don't let and this is I have today a meeting with my team, and I said, we are not going to define the situation to define who we are and what we are doing. God is defining that. And because He's defining us, as long as He's opened the doors for us and the hearts and show us the vision, we are going to show and do what we are doing the best. And we are going to grow and grow. And again, I'm praying that it's going to be peace. And I'm praying that it's going to be shalom. And I'm praying for wisdom for President Trump to understand that we are living in the Middle East. We are not living in Orlando in Disney. No, this is the reality in the Middle East. In the Middle East, you cannot buy tickets. You have to run through the people and go to the activities. And this is, I think, what we're supposed to do. We cannot be nice all the time. We cannot look for the nice ways to solve everything. And the people of Israel are ready to suffer for that. But it seems like President Trump have a different idea, and Prime Minister Netanyahu have to react to him because without President Trump, if we are looking back through the couple of wars, we cannot survive. But I think and I feel that the small thing that I'm doing is to be an activist, to
Mm,
change the reality, to go to the people, to go to the students. The teachers don't have any strength to teach them now because they have own children. But we are going to do it. We are going to do fun because fun first, and then we can bring others. But we are going to be there. And
mm,
I think this is the only thing how we can heal and heal the trauma. And for me, it's such a blessing to do it. This is a critical time, Patricia, for the
yeah.
Israelis. It's a
Mm,
critical time to prayer for Israel, for the next generations of leaders, to healing the nation. Because think about the students again. They are learning, they're going back to their normal life, and now again go to the bomb shelter. I saw
mm,
the children of my staff today. They came to the NLC because NLC is a safe place even to children in war. And I see the sadness in the eyes. And I
mm,
think all of us first should pray for them and all of us should think and understand what the best we can help the Jewish people in this critical moment. At
Hmm.
this critical moment, we have to focus on praying. We have to focus on bringing more and more people to fight this anti-Semitism, to understand these issues, to
Hmm.
understand what's happening in the NSC, but more than that, to understand that what we are doing here in Israel, we are protecting the democracy of Israel, but we are protecting all the world. Because if you can see, Europe is conquered. You know, the UK people, and I have a lot of Jewish friends there that afraid to go in London. Think
Hmm.
about it. I have friends that now in the Champs-Élysées, they are speaking English and they are afraid to speak in Hebrew because the
Hmm.
Champs-Élysées is full with Muslims that don't like Jewish people. So Europe lost. The next is the US and Canada and other places. And we are protectors of that because we understand it and we are the aim of these terror attacks. But if we are not going to join hand together and stand in front of this evil and devil, the
Hmm.
world is going to lost. And 20 years from now, we are not going to know what is the world that we are living in. And if there is a small responsibility on our shoulders, is to change that for the next generations of people that are going to live. People that are the people that hunting now the Jewish people, they are going to hunt the Christians. It's a matter of time. This is it. It's not a different reality. So we have to come back and show and bring God, the beautiful Bible, to the people and understand that the Bible, everything is written there. And yes, we can do it. And we can do it. And we
Hmm.
are doing that every day. And thank you very much for standing with us and praying strongly. And this is the time to take a little bit step forward, that this is will end with the right solution, with the right environment, that Jewish people can continue to be Jewish people, and people can be people and not just fanatic people that are in the name of something killing and murdering and shooting in other people. So thank you very much, Patricia.
Yeah, very good, very good. Many, many thanks for all of that. I do have